Hello there, welcome to Arma 3 mission making in 15 minutes or less, and today we're going to be talking about the layer system within Arma 3, how to set up layers, how to manipulate them, some of the limitations and some of the strengths that this functionality gives you. So let's take it from the top. On the left hand side here within the entities, you can see that you've got already a whole bunch of pre-established layers, and the ones with these ticks in them, these are kind of the default ones, and where we've got them in, you can see it's white. There's a whole bunch of comments, yeah. Whereas on the civilian side, there's no civilians down, so it's grayed out until I grab a civilian dude, pop them down. You see it then turns white and it's populated with an entity. So these default layers you can't get rid of. If, however, I put in, let's go for a custom composition. In fact, not a custom composition. Let's do a roadblock, hasty roadblock. Drops down here, you can see there's that layer there. If I now delete all those assets, I've still got that hasty roadblock in there, but without the little arrow there, it means that it's not really doing anything. So I can just go onto that one there and delete it. So why use layers? Why do we have them? What's important about them? Well, let's go for the simplest terms. Let's look over here, FOB Axios. You can see this. We can still edit stuff on FOB Axios. And what we can also do is go into here, and it's all of the stuff. Yes, if I delete that layer, I delete FOB Axios. You might want to turn it into a custom composition. You can see we've got some FOB Axios in there. If you do that without the layer, you don't really need the layer for that. But let's say I want it in there and I want to be doing stuff, but I'm getting annoyed every time I try and move these guys around and I'm picking things up that I don't want to be picking up, for example. So you can go for Axios, and in the bottom right hand corner here, you can make it invisible so you can't see it. You can lock it. So now that it's locked, it's now essentially looks like it's baked into the terrain. You can move it to root. I don't know what that does. Or indeed, you can select a bunch of other stuff and create a new layer. We'll talk about that momentarily. But for the things where you've got, and the most important aspect of layers, I would suggest when you're mission making in particular, is that when you've got something working the way that you want it to, and particularly something like a fob where you're moving things in and out, is locking it down really does help with that editing process. You're not messing around with it so much. Let's go back into unlock it, because what I am going to do is go into here, and so you can move stuff in and out of your layers. If I go to my jackals, I'm actually going to create a new layer because I don't want them in FOB Axios anymore. So I'll highlight them at the bottom here, press new layer, and it's apparently now layer 166. Go on to the attributes, and the layer name is going to be Axios vehicles. So I've now got a separate layer here. If I now go back up to my FOB Axios and I go to lock it, it's locked all the vehicles in there. So I locked all the kit in there, but my vehicles are not. So I can now do stuff with those should I wish to do so. What else have we got in here? Let's snuggle around to... So that's a simple thing. Organizational and locking stuff down in a map so you're not messing around and editing it. You don't pick up some dudes and move your ammo crates at the same time each time, for example. Where else? So this is a little bit more interesting. What we've got here is essentially our new area of operations, new AO, has been put into a layer. Within that layer, we've put down some fire teams, and we've got some markers. And you can see here, one of them we can see and two of them we can't. Well, the reason that we can't is if we double click on this one, reduce the alpha to 0, nothing's happened. Okay, I've now got a trigger that's on a radio, so radio Foxtrot, when I call that in, is going to execute a layer script. Okay, so you can see here that we're within the layer, we're getting mission layer entities from new AO. So we're grabbing the objects and the markers within that, and it's the new AO bit that's interesting. That's the part of the layer. And then all it does is the script will change the alpha of the layers, and it will then re-enable simulation and re-enable the view. So a bit like Java scripting here, you can do that by hiding them. So re-enabling the simulation, re-enable the view, and it will then allow those objects and entities to carry on doing what they were doing. But all it's doing, the key point of it, as I said at the start here, is you're taking it from within that layer. So you can start dropping stuff into layers and enacting scripts that only act on the entities within that layer. So we'll have a quick look in game, see what that looks like, and we'll wrap it up there. Okay, so here we are in game, and you can see we've got our formations, but you can't actually see them on the map. And if I go into Indeed my dude and go onto the map and go over to the area, there's nothing over there as well. Whereas if we call on the radio and Foxtrot, you can see the markers now appear, our guys now appear and start carrying out their activities. And all we've done there is group a bunch of things under one layer and then given them all a command just by running a simple script. So that is it, guys. That is Arma 3 mission making in 15 minutes or less. And today we talked about the layers aspect and the layers functionality and how you can use it to group different things together. And then how you can either run scripts on those different things that you've grouped together, for the example in front of you still now, or also just for organizational purposes by locking it down so that you're not going to accidentally move some things around once you're happy with what you've put in there. Any questions, please leave them for me in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks very much for your time. Stay safe and I'll speak to you soon.